morning, class. Today we are going to learn about the Truman Doctrine and the Marshall Plan. Are you excited?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Now we're going to start. Does anybody know about the Truman Doctrine?
A little bit.
Well, can you tell me what you know?
There was a man named Truman and he made a doctrine.
Do you know anything else?
Yes, he was American.
And?
That's all I know.
Well, you might want to take note of this. The Truman Doctrine was means to provide the necessary equipment to military. The Truman Doctrine arose from a speech by President Truman on March 12, 1947. Do you know why there was a speech? Yes, Kendra?
Was it that the British government was in civil war with the Greek government?
Not right, but that's right. Will you stop being disruptive in my class? Truman made a speech because the British government was no longer going to provide military assistance to the Greek government. In its civil war against the Greek Communist Party, Truman didn't want any Soviet influence on Greek policy, so the USA would need to intervene. Americans will now provide civilian and military personnel with equipment. A quote from the Truman Doctrine is, "The policy of the United States is to support free people who are resisting attempted subjugation by armed minorities or by outside pressure." Yes?
What does subjugation mean?
Forcing someone to do something they don't want to do. Do you understand?
Yes, but the other stuff you said confused me. Can you please simplify?
Simplify! Because the British is no longer providing military equipment to the Greek, so now the USA is going to boldly do so. Simplify! Does that help?
Yes, but what was the purpose of the Truman Doctrine? I mean, come on.
So that the USA could provide assistance to democratic nations under threat. Truman could no longer stand by and watch Soviet expansion. Soviet totalitarianism was expanding into free, independent nations, and to prevent this was to attack conditions of misery and want. Oh, give me that.
Did the Truman Doctrine actually work?
Yes and no. The Truman Doctrine was able to provide military with the means necessary to fight. Guns and things for their hands. Okay, you have it. What were the guns used for? Yes, to fight off communism and to show that there was another option other than communism. However, not much food was provided for their stomachs to be filled, so fighting was a challenge sometimes.
Well, how did they get food to them?
Through the Marshall Plan.
What's the Marshall Plan?
The Marshall Plan was started in 1947, but officially in 1948, after finding out in Washington in 1947 that economic development was not possible until they fixed the industrial base in Germany. This plan lasted for about 4 years. Yes?
There.
Yes?
Oh, sorry. But why did they create it?
They created it because during the war, so many people, so many cities and towns were destroyed. The transportation for people was just destroyed. All the farms, which made it difficult to eat. And during the winter of 1946 and 1947, let's keep going. It was a large-scale American program to aid Europe and strengthen their economies and crush the Soviet communists. The first aid that was given was to Greece and Turkey in January. The Americans were said to be the front lines of battle against communist expansion.
That's interesting and all. But what was the point of it, and what effect did it have on me? How am I supposed to figure this out?
Good question. I was just about to get to that. So in 1952, funding for reconstruction was ending and the economy for every participant had increased. It had even already started in 1951 because the recipient output was 35% higher than in 1938.
So, is that good?
Very much so. It means that they were making more than in the beginning. So as you can well imagine, Western Europe enjoyed the growth in wealth. Does all this make sense to you?
Yes, but how did they keep from spreading communism?
That is easy. The USA, together with 11 other nations, to form the North Atlantic Treaty, better known as NATO, and it was an indirect failure from the Marshall Plan. It was signed on April 4th, 1949.
So, what was its main purpose besides preventing the spread of communism?
Well,
Can I come back in?
no, leave!
Are you sure?
Yes, leave!
But I want to come back in.
Leave!
No,
Leave!
I'm coming back in. I'll be a good boy. I'll be a good boy.
Fine. Well, it coordinated the military defense of the members against possible Soviet aggression. They also implemented collective security. It was a way to protect the members' freedom.
What is collective security? I mean, it sounds complicated.
To be honest, it's not at all.
That's what the teachers say.
I know, but listen to me, okay? It simply means that an attack against one of the member nations is an attack against them all. Do you know why it was so important that the USA was involved?
No.
It allowed the USA to remain present in European affairs, but also it prevented the USA from isolating itself from what was happening in Europe.
Well, if it was so important, did it actually work?
Yes, it was. It provided collective security for its members and was not afraid to take action if a treaty was broken. The USA was finally involved in international affairs and was kept from isolating itself like it had done earlier on in history. It continued to grow in members, bringing much peace in the world. Make sense?
Yes. Thank you for teaching me about all this, but I have one question yet.
What is it?
Is it time to go home yet? All this history's gotten me tired.
Yes, it is. And you're welcome. Hopefully this stays with you for a very long time. Now run along, and you don't want to be late for supper.
Okay, bye!
Bye.
Can I leave now?